I was not born to work in an office. And other stuff I want to say. Um, so when I divorced my husband 8 years ago, I was working for a really great company. But I'll tell you the parts of myself that were neglected and why I quit that job. Other than I had to quit the job when I came out with my book, The Fuck List, because school districts and fucking do not mix. Because we presented our reports to school boards and they would not have hired us if they knew that I wrote a book about fucking. In fact, I want to say this first. I wrote the book, The Fuck List, for women. I thought I would be on the Oprah show. I thought I would be like a well-known author and I would give speeches and I would tell women, you have a right to fuck. You have a right to enjoy sex and you have a right to fuck. And I didn't hear that message talked about anywhere. Sure, there were like pornographic messages. But that wasn't me. I was just a woman who enjoyed sex, and I wanted to hear from other women who said it's okay to enjoy sex. I'm a mother and I like to fuck. That's why on the cover of my book, The Fuck List, I'm wearing a very prim, modest dress. Moms aren't supposed to like to fuck. I digress. What I didn't like about that job is I was not made to work in an office. This is what I don't like about office settings. First of all, why don't the windows open? This is not a rant video. It's like I had a really beautiful window office in Carlsbad. There were all these birds of paradise outside. I was 2 blocks from the ocean. It was a nice big office. And I had this hunger to open the windows and let the sun shine in or just be outside in the warm sun. And I was stuck indoors in an office. Why don't the windows open? Even in schools, the windows don't open. The second thing was, I was still kind of going to some 12-step meetings at that time, and I really liked being in my heart. I was in love with my husband still, and then I was going through all this emotional stuff about the discontent in my marriage. But I really wanted to feel. I wanted to feel in my body. I wanted to feel in my heart. I wanted to feel my emotions. And my job had no space for my body or my emotions. It was all mental. I mean, sure, we had staff meetings, which were really great. My boss is so funny. He's such an awesome, heart-centered, powerful leader. Which is one reason I'm so passionate about these manosphere communities, because we need more men like him, really empowered men who are also in their hearts. Very rare to find. We need more men like that. But it was all mental based, and I wanted to feel like there was nowhere to feel. And also the money wasn't very good. I made $35 an hour as an independent contractor, and it wasn't enough for me to live on. My rent was over $2,000 a month alone. So I was taking money out of my retirement account, and then that led to all these taxes I had to pay. So I was like, okay, the windows don't open. I'm in my mind. It's not enough money. But there were so many aspects of it that I liked, but I was really in touch with the parts that I didn't like. And I didn't know how to resolve this conflict, because every week I'd be like, okay, I need to at least work a 40-hour week or 50-hour week. But I would always be done at 20 to 30 hours a week is about right for me. I don't want to work more than that. I'm making this video because I just think more people should talk about this stuff. I don't believe in women working full-time. I think the guys are fine with it because they feel like they're pursuing something. But a lot of men like working outdoors. They like being physical. By the way, the guys that work outdoors are in super good shape. The other problem with working indoors, this is a separate issue, is that women are pursuing their careers and leaving their children in childcare, and that is not the natural desire of a woman, to leave her children in a daycare all day long. That is not the natural desire of a woman. When I was married, I refused to work full time. And then The problem, though, comes in for women is that we have a career, we have children, and then we want to go back part-time, and the doors are closed because in our society, my daughter's going through that right now with a part-time job, another different part-time job. It's the professional part-time jobs just don't exist. When I had my full-time job after college, when I had my daughter, I went back part-time, but I created that. That's possible for women, that you go on maternity leave, you come back, they'll let you work part-time, but part-time jobs don't really exist. So I think there's some structural problems in our society. So to live like a happy life, I think that we have to like break out of the rigid constraints. You know, are we meant to get a 4-year degree? Are we meant to work in an office all day? Are we meant to work full-time? Are we meant to leave our children in daycare? I say, fuck all that. Fuck all that. For me, the way I got around it now, well, the way I got around it, I had a really good husband, despite the fact that I left him because sexually it was bad. Now, I don't want to complain about him, but that's where I left him. But everything else was good. He was a good father. He loved me. He was a good provider. And I admired and respected him. But now after my divorce, the way I make it happen, I think a woman needs a man to provide or have like a really good paying job part-time. Well, I think it's good for women to work part-time. But if you don't have a husband to provide, the only way to make good money part-time is as a sex worker. And it's a super fun job, and I think more women ought to do it, especially more mature. We need more mature women in this category. I just finished Pilates. My Pilates instructor is in Pacific Beach, so that's where I'm at. I just got a coffee, and when I pulled up at the window to pay, the lady said, two cars in front of you paid for you. I said, I know I let the car in front of me in because there was a long line of cars turning right into the coffee shop, and there was a car that was trying to turn left, and I was holding the space open for it. I said, are you sure it wasn't the car in front of me because I let them in? She said, no, because the car that paid said, I'm going to pay for the car, not in back of me, but two in back of me. So I think he saw me let this car in, and he paid for my coffee. I still gave her a $5 tip, but I thought that was super nice. It just really made my day that this person was so nice to me and paid for my coffee and my bagel. Society is changing. We have to think outside the box. I do not think that we're meant to, when I talk with my daughter about this, we talk about, are we just meant to work all day at jobs that don't necessarily make us thrive? Just so we can pay the bills to live? Like, is that what it is? I remember when I was younger, like in the 80s, thinking, the idea then was we're going to work and slave away until we retire, and then life will be great. But what I noticed from my clients that I have, there are many men I see that are retired, actually, I see many men that are still working in their 70s and 80s, not because they have to, but because they want to. And being retired, when I was staying home with my kids, when they were in school all day, I felt retired. It gets really boring. Even my first few years as an escort, I had so much free time. I didn't need more money, but I was like, what am I going to do with all this time in my day? I was bored. That's how I started my coaching business. Being retiring is like a death knell. Not only that, because you're not creating anything, it gets boring. But then, like, are you going to work at a job you hate so one day you can retire, and then what? What about today? I think people can start looking outside of the box and start doing some things to make money that are not necessarily sitting in an office. I know people can make good money doing massage. You can make at least $100 an hour. That I pay my massage therapist, I have two different ones, $100 an hour when I go to them, and a little more if they come to me. That's good money, $100 an hour cash. You don't even have to fuck the people. In fact, you're not supposed to. You don't. There could be other things. I think people have to start thinking outside of the box. I think that, as society shifts and we become more awakened, the structures have to fall away. The old structures have to fall away. But yeah, I was not born to sit in an office. That's like a death life. No fucking way. That's it. That's all I want to say.